Raider Nation, good morning. It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, with some Las Vegas Raiders rumors that maybe you didn't see over the weekend. I would consider them rumors that the nation can't afford to miss. We're going to talk about Sam Darnold, some interesting things around his potential contract that the Raiders could be looking at. A term that I have used before that you're going to hear again today is a Geno Smith type of contract. I'll kind of tell you what those numbers could potentially look like and whether or not I would be interested in doing that for Sam Darnold. Also, there were some trade rumors over the weekend on Zamir White, Michael Mayer. I'll kind of give you the latest what I'm hearing around that situation. And then the Chat Sports team was down at the NFL Combine. Huge shout out to all those guys. I mean, the amount of content that we were pumping out over the past week was outstanding, and I got to show some love to my Chat Sports guys. But they did give me a lot of interesting things on some quarterbacks like Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, Jaxson Dart, Tyler Shough from Louisville. We're going to get into all of that. There's some other QB little news and notes that they gave me as well from down at the Combine. Bottom line is this. Now that the offseason is here, we're going to be doing our best to keep you up to date. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. This is going to be another busy week. Tomorrow is going to be a very, very busy day as well because it's going to be the franchise tag deadline, which is important for the Raiders. If they are looking at Sam Darnold, and based on the latest reports, the Raiders are still interested in Darnold despite the reports that the Athletic said that the Raiders are not going to go out and spend big after missing on Sam Darnold, or after missing on Matthew Stafford. So let's kind of get into the latest here around Darnold. And right now the Raiders are still interested. And tomorrow I'm going to be live 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific like I always am on Tuesdays. Based on the timing of what the Vikings could do with Darnold, I might go live even a little bit earlier because if Minnesota tags him, then that really changes up what the Raiders are going to do because if they tag him, it's going to be a non-exclusive tag, which puts him at about $41 million. I'm telling you this right now. The Raiders will not be interested in Sam Darnold at $41 million because not only do you have to give him a bigger contract, you'd also have to offer 2 first-round picks for him. And the Raiders aren't going to do that. And then even the Minnesota Vikings would have the ability to answer the call if they wanted to pay even more for that. So when you hear the franchise tag deadline stuff around Darnold, it does impact the Raiders. But don't think for a second if Minnesota ends up tagging Darnold that the Raiders are going to be interested in trading for him. That's not going to happen. That's not true at all. But when you look at the latest report, and this one came in from Vincent Bonsignor. Again, it was over the weekend, and, I'm just going to be real. I'm taking a lot of these with a grain of salt where I can understand the reports. And, I see the report that the Raiders could be interested in giving Sam Darnold a Geno Smith type of deal. That really shouldn't surprise you. I mean, that's something that we've talked about on this show way, way before. And, originally, the numbers that we were kind of hoping, I literally did an entire show that I said if the Raiders are interested in Darnold, the contract that I would give them is a Jimmy Garoppolo, Geno Smith type of deal, which is 3 years, about 72 to 75 mil, but you can get out of the contract pretty easily, just like Seattle was able to do or is able to do with Geno Smith. So if right now what we are hearing, and I reached out to a few of my people from the Combine, and the numbers that I was being told were 75 to 90 million around 3 years. And the Raiders were apparently getting ready to offer Matthew Stafford $100 million guaranteed over 2 years. So the fact that they have that money ready to go, in my mind, if they're able to allocate 3 years, $90 million, let's say, to Sam Darnold, and a lot of people are going to go, man, that's $30 million a year for Darnold. That's not how you should look at it. And if they were able to structure it very similar to the Geno Smith contract, I think a lot more people would be interested in that. So here's my question to you. If the Raiders go out and they sign Sam Darnold to a Geno Smith type of deal, 3 years, $75 million, would you be interested in that type of contract? Give me a yes, give me a no. My answer coming up right here after this YouTube ad break. The reason why I would be interested in that type of deal is just simply because of the way that the money is structured from top to bottom. So it was a 3-year, $75 million deal for Geno. They gave him $40 million guaranteed, but it was the salary cap hits. The salary cap hit in his first year, $10 million. Salary cap hit in his next season, $26 million. Salary cap hit in the third and the final year with zero guaranteed, so it's still easy to be able to get out of it, $44 million. And if I were to tell you right now that if Sam Darnold were to play the way that he did, even at a fraction of what he did last season, again, this guy threw for 35 touchdowns. Like, you don't throw for 35 touchdowns as a fluke. Does Kevin O'Connell deserve a lot of credit? Yes. Do the Vikings have some talented players? Yeah, no doubt about it. But throwing for 35 touchdowns in the NFL is not like a fluky thing to do. You're a talented player if you're able to put up 35 flipping touchdowns in the league. So when I think of 3 years, 75, or even 3 years, it could be 90 million, I believe that the way that contract would be structured, again, would be like a 10 million in year one, probably would be a little bit closer to like 15 mil. And then you're looking at probably around that $30 million number in year two. And then in that year three, you're probably looking at about $50 million. But here's the thing, though. If you're the Raiders, you're bringing in Darnold to be a bridge. And in my mind, you're never going to get to that $50 million number unless Darnold's out there winning a bunch of playoff games and giving us a reason to. I think by structuring the contract the way that the Geno Smith deal is done would be a really smart thing for the Raiders. You get Darnold, who's a talented QB, on a low contract his first 2 years overall in terms of salary cap space. You're going to give him some cash up front, but I don't give a shit about cash. Like, that's money out of Mark Davis's pocket. That's not money that impacts our ability to go out and essentially build a roster with salary cap. And then we see it every year. The salary cap goes up and up and up. So if the Raiders want to offer Darnold a contract similar to a Geno Smith type of deal, I'm on board for that. And I don't think it's a bad idea. And I've said before, I think the Raiders are the perfect team for Sam Darnold. I don't know if Sam Darnold's the perfect guy, but even though Will Howard did not have a good combine over the weekend, Sam Darnold and Will Howard, from a skill standpoint, very, very close. You know what I mean? Like, I think that skill set is very similar. And if I was Chip Kelly, I would look at everything that I did for Will Howard and I go, all right, I can go out and I can implement a lot of that for Sam this upcoming year for the Raiders. So coming up next year on the show, we're going to talk about Zamir White. There was some trade rumors around him from The Athletic. I'll be honest again, just because The Athletic is putting it out there, first off, it shouldn't surprise you if the Raiders are shopping Zamir or even shopping Michael Mayer. I'll talk about Mayer here in a moment. But if the Raiders were to trade away Zeus, they would save $1.1 million and they would eat $186,000. I would say the only thing that you're going to be able to get for Zamir is a 7th round pick in 2026. Like, you're not going to expect anything less than that, or anything more than that, excuse me, because teams also know that Zamir White didn't have a good year last season, that he's fallen out of favor a little bit, that he has a trouble hanging on to the football. And then when you look at how deep this running back class is, if I'm an NFL GM looking for a running back, why the hell would I trade for Zamir White? You know what I mean? Like, I think the more likely option is Zeus ends up getting cut. You still end up saving 1.1, you eat 186,000, and then you continue to build your running back room, because I have more confidence in Sincere McCormick coming off an injury than I do a healthy Zamir White right now, and I don't think that that's all that of a hot take. Coming up next here, we're going to talk about Michael Mayer and the trade rumors around him. Before, though, I get into that, Prize Picks is today's sponsor. Huge shout out to them. The best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big-time payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks offers discounts up to player projections, 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in actually as quick as 15 minutes. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Sign up today and get $50 instantly. When you play $5, you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. So I've been using Prize Picks for a while. You can do season-long stuff on baseball. You can also do a lot like basketball. I try to get started with anything Luka related because I've been watching a lot of Luka basketball. I'm not going to lie to you. If I enjoy doing it, I think y'all will too. Those links are available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. All right, so let's talk about Michael Mayer here. And again, it was reported by The Athletic that the Raiders are shopping him. And to me, this is a move that Michael Mayer would want, not really the Raiders, because I know that Mayer left last year, and we didn't really get a great answer on what that reasoning is. I could totally understand Mayer, though, being a young tight end and seeing what Brock Bowers just did, and he knows no matter what I do, I am not going to be the tight end one on this team. And sometimes that's a difficult pill to swallow. And for a kid like Mayer, you're thinking about this is about to be my third regime in 3 years. I haven't been able to get my footing going in Las Vegas. I could potentially want out. And if the Raiders end up trading Mayer, to me, in my mind, it's because Michael Mayer wanted to be traded, right? And that's the only thing that happens, because if traded, you save $653,000 and you eat $1.9 million. I know that Bowers is number one, but Mayer is a really damn good 2 in terms of a tight end 2 value. The problem is, though, he's got to just want to be able to go try to be a number 1 somewhere, and maybe he has the opportunity to go be the 1 somewhere. I'll tell you this, if you trade Mayer, you're probably only going to get a 5th, maybe a 6th round pick. Quite frankly, I think a 5th would be a little bit surprising. The team that I'm going to throw out there that I could see being the most interested would be the New England Patriots, just considering the fact that Mike Vrabel's got a good relationship with this regime. Luke Steckel's got a great relationship with Mike Vrabel. Steckel was the tight end coach with Mike Vrabel when they were together in Tennessee. He's the Raiders tight end coach right now. But then also, obviously, it's that Josh McDaniels connection, a regime that ended up drafting him. Another sneaky team to keep an eye on that is going to be looking for talent is going to be the Tennessee Titans. And there's a lot of rumors right now that Tennessee is looking to trade that number 1 pick based on some of the things that we've heard from Chat Sports. The New York Jets and the New York Giants right now seem to be the top 2 teams most interested in that. I do think, though, if the Raiders were to trade up for Cam Ward, hear me out, I do think that the Titans could potentially also want Michael Mayer as a little bit of a cherry on top, because Dave Ziegler right now is down there in that Tennessee organization, and that was also somebody that really valued Mayer, and it's why they drafted him where they did. So we'll keep an update on what happens. I think Mayer is the more likely option to get traded just because he has more trade value than Zamir White. Let's go to the final thing here. We're going to talk a little bit about some quarterbacks. I'm going to just run through some of the notes that I have quickly from our Chat Sports guys. Cam Ward is the no doubt number 1 quarterback in this year's class, and there's not a team out there I think that values anybody besides Cam Ward as that true number 1. If a QB goes off the board early, it's going to be Cam Ward. Shedeur Sanders, sounds like he's going to slide, and quite frankly, he could slide out of the top 10. There was one person that we have some good notes on from Chat Sports and said that, he's heard as far as could slide, down to 15. And when you hear that, I think that also means that somebody's going to climb. And Jaxson Dart is a quarterback that is climbing up some boards because Shedeur did fall down a little bit. I'll admit, some of the people that we talked to at the Combine said that they thought Cam Ward could be the only quarterback drafted in round 1. You're going to hear a lot of crazy rumors. You're going to hear a lot of smoke. Now, it's important to be able to listen to all of it, but Shedeur, I would still say, is QB2. But I don't think that the Raiders are going to draft him at number 6 if he's available to them at 6. Quite frankly, I think if the Raiders were to draft a QB like Sanders, it's them trading back into the end of round 1, and you're going to give up multiple picks to go up and get him, which I actually hope that the Raiders don't do because I like Shedeur, but I also want to be able to hang on to some of these draft picks. Jalen Milroe really impressed the Raiders, and Milroe's got it up here. And for an organization that they are not interested in playing a rookie quarterback in year 1. I know I've said it a bunch, and I know people are, they're going to roll their eyes at some of the stuff that I've said, but I'm telling you right now, the only quarterback that the Raiders would consider starting as a rookie in year 1 is Cam Ward. Nobody else would they consider starting in year 1. So, and if you're looking at Jalen Milroe, he's got upside. You can't deny the upside. And if you're the Raiders and you're looking at a Sam Darnold, a Justin Fields, a Russell Wilson, I think when you bring that quarterback in, you're bringing that QB in more than likely on 2 years just because of the contract that you're going to have to give them, because you want to be able to have a lower salary cap in the first 2 years and then have that big salary cap, let's say, potentially year 3. If you knew for a fact, though, that you're looking at a 2-year window, Jalen Milroe has got a lot of learning to do, and he's not a good thrower of the football, but he at least showed you in 2023 that he can do it, and he can win down the field. And if I'm the Raiders, I'm just trying to get Jalen Milroe to learn how to throw a football in 2 years. Because if he learns how to throw one in 2 years, he's going to be an interesting player. But the Raiders like that he has it up here. Shedeur Sanders also really impressed people with the mental side of the game. And, a lot of times coaches will look at the intangibles and they'll look at, can I trust this guy in a big game situation? I would say Shedeur and Jalen had a lot of people very confident in their ability to just process football up here. Jaxson Dart, really solid combine, has again said a lot of the right things. Sounds very interested to join the Raiders. I'll leave it like that. But if you want another 2-year project, Jaxson Dart, I think, is another good 2-year project. Tyler Shough from Louisville is a name that we've probably only started talking about in the last week or two, and it's really growing. He's 6'5". He's a little bit of an older quarterback prospect, can throw the football all around the field, but Shough is another interesting guy. Will Howard really did look bad, and that's just the only way that we're going to be able to keep it a buck. But I also love that Shedeur Sanders went on Twitter and said, why is everybody ripping on Will Howard? Like, it's not easy to throw to receivers that you've never thrown to before, and that is a true statement. I think it also shows a lot of the leadership qualities that people see in Shedeur Sanders. But, for a guy like Will Howard, definitely struggled. He did just win a natty, but it's not the best look because I will admit, when you watch a lot of Will Howard tape, he gets saved by just having the better receiving core than the defense that he's going up against. So we'll see what that does to his draft value. Maybe it drops a little bit. 2 quarterbacks that I was told NFL teams think have a lot of value on day 3, Quinn Ewers and Kyle McCord. We'll see if they both go on day 3. I would say that it's more likely that, they're probably going to go round 4, round 5. Maybe they slide to round 6. And I would say the only way that they're sliding to round 6 is if some of those other quarterbacks that we just mentioned really also fell down the board a little bit. But good value there in McCord and in a player like Quinn Ewers. All right, y'all, I'm getting on out of here. Appreciate everyone tuning in. It was an early video. I just wanted to be able to keep you guys up to date. I probably would have talked about some of that stuff over the weekend, but I was celebrating my 5-year anniversary with Alex, which I told some people about on Thursday when we did our show for Brandon Jasper. Appreciate everyone that already did say congratulations to Alex and I. 5 years, our final anniversary before we get married. It's pretty crazy. We're down to 95 days, counting it down. If anybody's got some good wedding tips or future husband tips, please, I'm all ears. But we're going to wrap this thing up one more time. The Raiders are still interested in Sam Darnold, despite the Athletic reporting that they're not going to spend big. It just depends what you consider spending big. If 3 for $75 is spending big to you, well, then you got to look at the Geno Smith type of contract, because I think Sam Darnold is the number one option that the Raiders have their eyes on right now. And then it's between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, probably for that plan B. For Zamir White and Michael Mayer, the Athletic did report that they're on the trade block, which, again, wouldn't really surprise me. But at the same time, I don't see anybody trading for Zamir. If I did see anybody trading for Mayer, I would say the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots would be my top 2 teams that I would keep an eye on. You'd probably get a 5th or a 6th, probably a 6th for Mayer. You might get a 7th in 2026 for Zeus, but I think the cut option there is a little bit more prevalent. Cam Ward is the only quarterback that the Raiders would start week 1, and then a lot of the other values for QBs is starting to slide. So for a team like the Raiders, if you want a quarterback in the draft, I don't think that you're going to have to spend the 6th pick on them, and I think that you might be able to even get some of these guys a little bit later on. Ooh, actually, I do have one more note before I get out of here. Ashton Genty, Omari and Hampton, Trevion Henderson are the top 3 running backs in the class. I even was told that all 3 of those backs could be gone by the time the Raiders pick at 4, or by the time the Raiders pick at 37, all 3 of those running backs could be gone, and which kind of blows my mind. Just because, we see all the time, like, running backs go a little bit later. But this past season, running backs really did show their value with, Saquon Barkley, King Henry. And the fact that the free agency pool is a little bit thin. Let's be honest with ourselves. Like, Aaron Jones is probably the only back that I would even entertain the idea of going out and getting. But that's only if I can get him on, like, a 5-year deal. I'm not interested in Najee Harris after looking at a lot of these running backs. This is a stacked running back class. And I think that you could see a run on running backs kind of like you saw a run on offensive linemen during last year's draft, which it's surprising. This draft is deep with a lot of talent, and I can't wait to see what the Raiders end up doing. All right, y'all, peace out. Enjoy your Monday. I will get you another video later on today, and then you're going to get another video bright and early tomorrow on Tuesday before I go live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. All right, y'all, if you're looking for even more videos around the silver and black, I got you covered here. Hit that subscribe button right now. If you want even more content, more videos, maybe it's Combine, maybe it's other rumors, we got videos here. And I got videos here. I promise you we'll do our best to keep you up to date. And if any big-time stuff happens, we go live on the Raiders Report.